Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome again to the Aria group training sessions. Uh, Today we are going to discuss the sales order sample cycle session, focusing on how to enter a sales order, how to manage and maintain the different types of sales orders, multi-store versus single store orders, plus all the functionality related to maintaining or updating the sales order information, editing quantity, cancellation, and printing the sales order. So we will have 15 minutes at the end of the session as usual to discuss your questions. It will be an open discussion. So if anyone has any question, please prepare it at the end, and we'll try to dedicate like 10-15 minutes for that. So I'll mute the microphone for everyone now just to avoid any background noise. So as I mentioned before in the previous sessions, who attended the previous session for basic orientation, we discussed how to navigate through Aria, what are the main master files needed and codes file needed in order to start entering transactions across the system. Today's session will be targeted for people who work specifically in customer service, sales rep, or any data processing or data entry personnel who will be doing or maintaining the sales order transaction in the system. As a prerequisites for that training, you have to have a basic knowledge of Aria XP navigation. We have to have at least the customer master is set up, the style master is set up, which we have discussed in the previous sessions during the basic orientation. This is as well applies for the data prerequisites, so we need to have customer masters to be able to enter sales orders, as well as the style master for your product catalog to be able to enter your sales orders into the system. At the end of this course today, you'll be able to enter a single store orders, you'll be able to enter a multi-store orders, and as you can see the difference between the single store and the multi-store, you will be aware of what are the differences from the shipping standpoint for each type of order, and you'll be able to know as well how to modify, maintain, and cancel sales orders. So we'll start showing on the screen now the process of creating a sales order in Aria XP. First off, you have to go to the transaction main menu, then navigate to the sales order module, then the sales order submenu, and finally the sales order icon. So this is the path on the main menu: transaction, sales order module, sales order submenu, and finally the sales order icon. As probably you know from the previous sessions, any icon in Aria you can add it to your favorites by clicking add to favorite. This way you can copy a shortcut of that icon if you are using it on a day-to-day basis. This way you don't have to navigate again to the original menu option. So now we'll open up the sales order screen and see and go through the process of creating a new sales order, and as well as discussing the different types of sales orders available in the system. So to start adding any new record, as you probably know from the orientation session in the prior classes, to add a new record in the transaction menu, first you have to click add new, which is the blank page icon on the toolbar. Then this window will open up. This window is usually the defaults for that sales order entry session. So to make the data entry process faster, you just select what is the default season that you are in now. So this way any new order will pick up that season by default. You can also change or select the default division that you will use for the sales order entry, as well as you can choose the warehouse location that you will be entering or recording the sales orders for. If you click here, set as a default, then these four parameters, the completion date, the season, division, and location, will be saved for you for any new order within that session. And the good thing that you still can modify it, so it still can be overwritten on individual orders basis. It's just a matter of making your screen populates those values by default, as we'll see now. So yeah, this is just a warning message. Completion date happened to be on Saturday. Of course, as we mentioned, you can override that on individual orders basis, as we'll see from that section. So next step is to select or type in your account code. And as you remember from the previous sessions, the account code in Aria is 5 digits. So we have two ways of selecting the account. If I know the account code, I can type it in directly in that box. If not, and I would like to inquire, then I can still click on the button next to the account code, and that will open up the list of accounts and I can locate it from there. So let me just undo and show you the other way around. So providing that I'm going to start from the beginning, add new record. And now I don't recall the account code and I would like to search, so I will click on the browse button next to the account code, and that will open up the account or the customer master list for me. So you can search by several ways. You can search by name, you can search by address, you can search by even the state or the telephone number of the customer, as we probably discussed last time. So it is as simple as clicking on the column header of the field that you'd like to search by, and that will rearrange the whole list alphabetically by that field. Next step would be to use the incremental search or the binocular icon to search for the value or for the information you need. So let's say I want to search for Macy's account, so I'm going to type in the first few letters for that account, press enter, and then the screen or the system will locate for me the first customer matching that name or matching that customer name. So let me repeat it again. If after I click index or I click to sort by the company name, once the process is done, I can go incremental search, type in the account that I would like to search for. So let's say I want to search for JCPenney. So I type in the few first letter, press enter, and that will take me to the required account. So that's an easy way to locate your or to navigate through your customer master database, even if you don't memorize or even if you don't know the exact 5-digit code of your account. Once you select and confirm your selection of the customer that you want to place the order for, the default order status would go on hold status, and this is a default setup parameter which can be changed, of course, later on. So if, let's say, you don't want to put that order on hold and you want to open it or consider its open status, so it's ready to go, it's ready to ship, so you still can change the status from here. Bid status is like unconfirmed orders. So rarely you will be using that order status, but the business use of that type of status is simply unconfirmed order. It does not affect your open to sell nor the availability, and it is just a temporary order. We can say it's just pending approval to be further processed as either open or hold order. So again, ensure the default status is hold. If the order is ready, approved, and is good to go, you can switch the status to open. So next fields that we have here in the header tab is the store number, and next to it a checkbox called multi-store. So that will differentiate between the two types of order, either a single store or a multi-store. So if multi-store is unchecked, meaning that this is a single store sales order, and it will ask you for what is the store number destination, which will be the only destination for that sales order, and thus it will be used as the ship to address for the shipment, for the packing list, and so on and so forth. So The first part of the session will discuss the single store orders, which normally in that case you will keep the button or the checkbox for multi-store unchecked. Now you have the option to either select one store or leave the store field empty, and the difference here, if you leave the store empty, meaning that the system will use the main account ship to address as the destination or as the ship to address for that order. So this could be also a possible business scenario if you have a small stores or boutiques that do not have really multiple locations. They only have one address or one account. Then simply you can leave the store field empty, and the main address of that account will be used as well as the ship to address. If that's not the case, then as we saw in previous sessions, you can set up on your customer master a store account, and if you click on the browse list next to the store, it will open up the different store codes along with their ship to address, so you can select from the list what store number the order will go to. So once I select a store number on the header tab, system will ask me to confirm if I want to overwrite the order header information with the store default. If I say yes, then you will notice now the ship to address has been updated with the store address. So you do not need to retype anything. The system already knows for that store number 02 for Macy's, this is the correct ship to address from the master files. So it pick up the ship to address, the state, the city, and so on. Next piece of information which is important is the customer PO number, and this corresponds to your client or your customer purchase order number, and it's usually provided either on the paper form of the order, or if it's an EDI order, then usually this piece of information will be transmitted via the EDI order, which usually determined by your partner or by your customer. So this is again the customer PO number. Now the screen has 3 tabs, and we'll go over each tab of them. The header tab is that section where you have the basic information about the order. Bill to address is the customer billing address. Shipping address is the customer ship to address. As we mentioned, it can be the same like the main account, or it can be for a specific store destination. Then you have the opportunity here to override the order dates, either the start date, the completion date, or the order enter date. Enter date is usually today's date, but you can change the shipping window of that sales order by overwriting the start date and the completion date. So let's say I'm gonna start shipping on May 21st. The maximum completion date will be May 31. So this is my shipping window, start and complete. And those dates are very important for managing your shipping cycle and managing your scheduling, because when you come to run a report, these 2 dates are usually available as a selection criteria, so you can run your open order report either by the start shipping date or by the completion date of the sales orders, and thus you can focus, or you can get only the orders to ship, let us say, this month, this week, and so on. The lower part is simply the codes master related to your customer master. So what's the payment term? This is coming from your customer master. What's the expected ship via? If any special instruction needed, and all these are codes you can add to it as you need. If not, it will come up by default based on your customer master setup. Season code will affect the styles, or will control the styles that you will enter on that sales order. So just take a note here that in case if you place an order for multiple season, you still can do that by selecting all, which is the first value on that drop down, and that means that the sales order lines, when we enter them, it will accept styles from different seasons. If not, if you choose a specific season code, so that means the system will allow only the styles belonging to that particular season code. So that's very important, because you might have year-round styles, or you might have customers who places order for different seasons no matter what the style is. So they might place one order for the summer styles and the fall season, let us say, in the same time. So if that's the case, make sure you select all, which will allow any season code on that style, on that sales order. The division is your company's division. In some cases, you may have only one division if your business does not have any divisions in their product line. Then on the right hand, there is a short note, which is a free text. You can type any important note. So ship on time, direct to store, for example. Call buyer first. So any hint or any short notes that you would like to enter and show up on the sales order confirmation form and eventually on the pick ticket, you can enter them here using these two generic fields. Now, the sales rep information, you will notice it populates by itself, which coming from the customer master as well. So based on the account code that we selected on the header, the sales rep information will come up and will tell you what are the sales rep to have commission or to calculate commission on that sales order. So again, this information can be overwritten as needed. So if that specific order does not have sales rep number 2, I can blank it or I can remove it. Same goes for the sales rep number 1 as well. Okay, so now we are gonna move on to the details tab. The last thing on the header tab is the location code, which, as we mentioned, is the warehouse location. And this warehouse location controls your inventory and your open to sell. So according to the sales order pulling from which warehouse, the system will update for you the open to sell and eventually the inventory for that warehouse in case if you have multiple locations or multiple warehouses. Now the second tab is the details tab. So I'm gonna click on the detail tab and move on to create the order lines. Here to initiate the process or to add a new order line, you simply click new. And then you are going to enter the style and color. Same idea like what we did for the account. If you remember already your style color code, you can start typing it here. If not, and you don't remember the code, you can click on the button to browse the style master, and that will open up for you the entire style master list, so you can search or you can scroll down to the desired style and color code. Same applies if you click, by default, by the way, the list is sorted by style color, but you still can sort it by the description if you want to, and that will allow you to use the incremental search as well to search by the style description instead. Okay, so here if you start typing in the style code, let's say XYZ, so system will take me directly to that style and color, so I can navigate and I can select the style color code that I would like to enter. If there is no price listing added to that style, you will get that message. However, you still can override the price field, as we'll see in a minute on the order line level. So now the system retrieved the style code, the color, the style description. Same PO number on the header will populate, and now on the line level you can enter the quantity breakdown by size. In other cases, if your business deals with a pre-pack, you still can use to enter, or you still can elect to enter the order using a pre-pack. So the pre-pack, as we discussed in the first session on the style master, it's simply a code associated with your size scale. So you can sell a style in a pre-pack, meaning that always this style will be sold in 2 pieces small, 2 pieces large, 4 pieces X large, and 1 piece XX. So if that ratio is always applicable, you can set that up as a pre-pack and you can enter by that method. If not, you still have the option to enter the actual quantity by size breakdown. In that case, you are the one who decides how many pieces from each size will be entered. Once you are done with all the sizes, the system will give you a confirmation to confirm the balance of that style color. And as we mentioned, if you do not have a fixed price list, you still can override the gross and the net price per unit for that style. So that will be used as the default price for that specific sales order. Normally speaking, in most of the cases, if you do have a price list on the style master, then this price will populate by default and it will be taken from the related style master list. So now once you are done, I guess it didn't take the, so this is the price. Let me put the quantity again. I guess what happened that we did not have a price, so it didn't take it. So now I enter the quantity breakdown by color, by size breakdown. The open to sell is very important because that will show you the available quantity by size of that selected style. So let me add a new line, and I'll select this time one of the styles that I have some quantity available in the open to sell. So let me take that style, CP4781547, color brown. So if that style has availability in the open to sell, the system will show it here in that section, in that line in front of the OTS. So this way you can know, or you can decide if there is availability of that style color, and what, if yes, what are the available quantity by size. So the OTS again is very important to let you know the current open to sell or the current availability by the selected style, color, and size. So here I'm going to put in the quantity breakdown, confirm the total or the balance, and that's it. You'll keep repeating the same process again and again until you finish all the lines for that sales order. So this would be the process of entering the styles in the system with different quantity by color, by size. Once you are done with all the line item on your sales order, you still can take a look or review any line by simply highlighting that line and going back to the size field and overwriting as needed. Some advanced features available on the sales order line level, that you can have a commission on the line level for the sales rep different than the header. So if you elect to have that option turned on, or that parameter is active on your company, you can override the commission percentage by line, which will be only available or will be only calculated on that specific style color when the system calculates the commission. So here, for instance, I want to give 10% on the first line, but for the second line, it will take the default commission of 11%, whatever was set up on the customer. So this is how you can override the commission on the line level. If your commission is calculated by division, and also this is probably discussed in the beginning on the sales rep master session, the system in that case will pull up the commission based on the selected division. So if you select a customer and this customer have a sales rep, for men's division the sales rep takes 10%, but for the women's division they take 12%. The system is capable to recognize the division code, the sales rep, and pull or populate the correct division commission percent for that sales rep. Okay, now after you are done with all the line entries, you will go to the summary tab, and the summary tab is simply to verify your entry and to make sure everything adds up and the total of the whole sales order is matching. So on the summary tab, we have the totals, calculated quantity, and dollar amount. So this order is for 87 pieces, total $3,667. So far nothing is shipped, nothing is cancelled. Now on the left hand there is some additional fields that you may benefit from. They are optional, but however we are gonna go over them since they might be of interest for your company. The first field is the category, the order category. And this could be used to further classify your order, like examples of using that order category. If you receive orders during a market week, for example, so I can put that as an order category. I can add another value. Let us say one of the other values would be by phone. So the customer just picked up the phone and placed the order. So as you add to this drop down, these order categories can be available for you for selection, and it's good to have them, especially when you run reports and statistics from the system. If you want to know how much orders you got during the market week, let us say, or how much orders you got by phone versus by fax or by manual written order, so you can use this classification to categorize your order. Buyer is the customer buyer, and this information comes from the customer master, same as for the phone number. If there is any merchandise discount to be taken at the time of invoicing, this is where you can put that discount here. And keep in mind that this is a general discount on the overall order level, and it is calculated again at the time of invoicing only, not at the time of the sales order. Approval number and approved amount, that's only information if you do have a credit approval and you would like to maintain or keep track of this information for credit approval purpose. So you can put the like a credit card approval reference. If you deal with factor and your accounting department has a factor approval number, you can type in that information over here. The next the other field here that are disabled are actually populated by the system only if you cancel the order, and it will stamp the cancel date and the cancel reason. The field for the factor is important, especially if your company has two types of billing, factored billing and non-factored billing. So depending on the sales order, if it is associated with a factor code, then it will be going through the factored billing cycle. If not, and if the factor field is empty, meaning that the order and the related invoice would be non-factored and would be thus going through the non-factor invoicing and the non-factor billing. Okay, for these two fields, the GL link, those comes up by itself from the customer master. So, yes, I got some kind of error here. So let me just continue or try to retrieve where I left off. Okay, so I'm just, I apologize for that unexpected error. It looks like something happened with the database or something. So anyway, we said that the link code, you don't have to worry, or you do not have to override that. This comes up by itself directly based on the customer setup. So the last thing that you need to know about in that section is the parameters to the right: bulk order, insurance, reorder. Those checkboxes are further to classify the sales order if it does require insurance at the time of shipping, whether or not it's a bulk order or no. If it's not unchecked, meaning that it's a direct order, it can ship directly to a store, and thus there is no requirement to deplete or to create a bulk order first. Versus the bulk order, a bulk order means that you receive what you call it sometimes a blanket order. It's kind of a contract for the whole season, and then you can deplete from this bulk order by creating the actual distribution orders. So by default, bulk order is unchecked. Reorder will be checked only if that order is for the same customer, for the same styles. It just they are requiring or reordering the same styles again, so you can differentiate this type of order as well by checking the reorder checkbox. Okay, once you are done with all the changes, you will save, and that's when the system will generate a sales order number from the system, and will associate that with the customer PO number, we entered. From here on the system, or you can refer to that sales order by either the Aria generated order number or by the customer PO number. So any of the two reference, it can be used to refer to the order. So if let us say I don't recall what was the Aria system order number and I know the account code and I know the customer PO, you still can do that. So if I go to the Inquire mode, I pull up the account and I go to the customer PO and put the order or the customer PO number. The system is capable to retrieve for you the system generated order number based on this information. So again, if you do know the account code and the customer PO number, you still can type both of them in the select mode and the system will retrieve for you the generated Aria sales order number. So that's one way of selecting or searching for orders. The other way, which is the direct way, if you do know the Aria sales order number, so simply you can type it in or scroll down to navigate to the sales order to retrieve the information. Alright, so let's see what we have next. So this is covering the single store order, so I'm gonna recap on that section. So we discussed the different sales order status field. What is the difference between the open, the hold, and the bid status? The important dates on the sales order and how to keep track of the start and completion date. Season division and the reason why we have to select a season code and how to select a generic season code. Importance of selecting the right code, effect of information entered on the different parts of business and what information used for the report in the different areas of the sales order. So these slides are going through step by step entering a sales order, which what we actually discussed. So we are gonna move now to the next section, which is entering a multi-store sales order. So from within the same screen of entering a sales order, I'm going to start a new record, a new order. As we mentioned, the defaults will come up every time you start a new session, so you can override the defaults if you want to. You want to change the season, the division, the warehouse code, etc. and you want to set that as a default. Same as we applied or same as we discussed in the single store order, you can navigate to search your account code either by the name or by the 5-digit account code. Once you locate your account number that you would like to place an order for, now in that case we are gonna discuss the multi-store order. So I'm gonna check that option, multi-store. And you will notice once the multi-store is enabled, there is another checkbox for multi-customer PO. And the multi-customer PO can be used or not depending on how your partner or how your customer sends you the order. So if it's a multi-customer PO number, meaning that each store would have its own customer PO reference number. Versus the other way around, if it's unchecked, meaning the entire multi-store order will just have one customer PO number for the entire order for this account. So you have to decide which way to use depending on your case. Normally speaking, most of department stores, if they do have the capability of sending multi-store orders, they usually will have one cross-reference or one customer PO number for the entire order, no matter what the store is. Everything else on the header tab is the same, so I'm not gonna repeat. It's typically the same like the sales order. You can override the start shipping date, the cancel, or what we call it, the completion date of the order for that specific case. If there is any different information comparing with that customer master, you can revise it, like if you want to revise special instruction, if you want to revise the season code, and so on. So now moving to the detail tab. In case of a multi-store sales order, there is additional feature that will populate which called template. And the template here is simply to let you enter the multi-store order in an easy and efficient way, so you don't have to waste time entering line by line for each and every store within the order. So as we are gonna see now, I'm gonna show you the way how to enter a template and how to use that template to create different lines for different stores. So by clicking on the template, another screen will open up. So in that screen, you'll be able to add new style the same way like what we did, or what we can do for a single store. We are entering here the style code either by typing in the code or by clicking the browse list to search and locate the color, the style and color. Once you locate or once you select your style color code, you will confirm the price. You will enter the quantity breakdown by size, etc. And again, the open to sell is an inquiry field that tells you the availability of that style by color breakdown, by size breakdown. So let me enter that style, confirm the pieces, and let's say I want to enter another style. So I'm going to click new, and I will click here another style code. Okay, it's for that style. This is the price, and I'll fill in the quantity breakdown by size. And everything actually will notice the same features available in the single store are available in the template. The only difference, as we'll see now, that once you create the templates line, which consists of all the style colors that you are creating within that sales order along with their quantity, you will be able to select all the lines on that template and then go to the store field. And the stores here, it will open up another screen where you can select which stores will take or will apply to this style and colors. So here it opened up all Macy's, all the 3 stores for Macy's. So let's say I want store 1, 2, and 3. All of them will apply the same template, the same line item that I just entered. So once you create your template, you selected the styles, you selected the store, you click apply, and the apply button here will simply, as we'll see, will simply replicate the same style colors to all the stores that we select. So once this is done, you can actually close out of the template screen, and that will take you back to either clear this template or create a new template. So the idea here that you can have as many templates as you want, and each template will have different style colors, and you have the opportunity to apply this template to as many stores as you want. So let me go back. I'm gonna back up to the main screen now. Once I go, let's see what happened. The system automatically here created lines for store 1, store 2, and store 3. So this is a very good advantage of using the template functionality in case of a multi-store orders. And as we mentioned, it's very good to speed up the data entry and to avoid a redundant work. If you know that store 1, store 2, store 3, all of them will get the same exact styles, so you use the template to create these styles and to apply them for all the number of stores. So I'm gonna repeat it one more time. Let's say I want to add another style that I forgot about, and I want to add it again to the 3 stores. So I'm gonna go to template, new, navigate to search for your style code that you'd like to add, confirm the price or input the price manually in case if you do not have a price list, fill in the quantity breakdown for that style. And here it's gonna be a generic quantity breakdown for any store no matter what. Then select this style, click on the stores, and now you'll have the opportunity to select which stores to apply these or this style to. Then click apply, close, and OK. So once we do that, let us see what happened here. The system added the new style 3 times, 1 for each store. And you still have, by the way, still have the ability in case of variations of quantity by store, you still can go to the involved store and overwrite manually the pieces for that store for that style. Okay, so as a recap, the idea here of using templates, it's simply to let you enter the lines in a speedy way, in a fast way, instead of doing it one by one for each store. You enter them once and you apply them to the number of stores that will be ordering or that will take uh, this style, color, size with their quantity breakdown. Once you are done with that, as usual, you will look up at the summary tab and you will be able to enter, or sorry, to verify the totals to make sure your totals add up and it matches your manual order or the paper copy of the order. You revise any information related to the factor, related to the any parameters as we mentioned, and then once we are done, we will save the changes and get a sales order number. Yeah, finally, at the end, you can enter a free text notes, which is simply, as we'll see, it can be used generically for any shipping instructions, any packing instructions, etc. So this is just a free text that you can enter any information and save it, and the system will associate it with that saved sales order. If you want to retrieve that at any time, you can pull up again by the sales order and you can go to the order notes and you will be able to edit it and override the text or modify the text for that note, for that notepad. Alright, so this is how a multi-store sales order is entered. If there is a multi-PO, if you check the multi-PO number, the same process would apply. The only difference that in that case you'd be able to revise the customer PO number on the line level, and that means that each store would have its own customer PO number. So that's how the system acts in case of a multi-store, multi-PO orders. It would let you enter the customer PO on each and every line for the relevant store. So now let's go back to the presentation slides. So we discussed how to create a multi-store order. What options we have in case of a multi-store order is checked. We can have either one customer PO for all the order, for all the stores, or we can have a separate PO number for each store. We saw how to select the stores and how the information flow from the customer master to the sales order. So we discussed the template as well, and this is described step by step in that section or in that slideshow. So now we are gonna move on to the last part of that session, which is canceling, updating, and modifying a sales order. And this is actually a simple step that you can either cancel an entire order or you can revise an order and you can thus reduce or increase the quantity of a given sales order. So still in the same screen within the same menu option, transaction sales order icon. After you pull up your sales order number either by searching in the browse list or by typing in the number in. So I'm gonna select my order, say this one. Then now you have two options. If you want to get rid and cancel the entire order, you can use the trash can icon, which mainly cancels the entire order, and in the back end the system will consider the open to sell as available again, so it removes the entire order quantity and consider it back as available to sell in the style inventory and the cut and sold. Or the other scenario, if you want to revise the order, either modifying the quantity partially or canceling partial pieces, so that's when you go to the edit button. So I'm going to start with editing the sales order. Here, once you go to the details tab, after you click edit to edit the sales order, you will have simply the ability to go to any line by store if it's a multi-store order, and go either modify or increase or decrease the quantity by style, by color, by size. So this is a simple way to revise the order quantity. The other scenario, if you do have cancellation, if let us say the customer called you and he said that they don't need a whole style to be shipped to a certain store, so you can highlight that style color for that store and you click remove. Once you confirm remove that line, system will consider it as a cancellation or as a canceled pieces on that store. There is some rules here that the system will consider the pieces as cancelled only if you cancelled after the order enter date. So if today's date is May 3rd and you came tomorrow on May 4th and revise the order and remove a line, that's when the system will consider this as a cancellation. If you revise the order within the same day that it was entered, the system will simply consider it as a regular revision and it will not keep track of any cancellation. So it will be considered as if it's a revision done on the original copy of the order. So let me here just to illustrate that I'm going to revise manually the order enter date and I'm going to save it. Then when I come back to, let's say I came back the next day or whenever I'm revising the order, I'll repeat the same thing. I'll edit and I'll go to the details. Let's say now I want to decrease the quantity. The customer called and they said, you know what, I don't want size number 6 or style whatever XYZ, so I'm gonna zero out the pieces on that size. Here we go. Now once I confirm the revision, the system will give me a cancellation reason. So the cancellation reason can be any of the values available in the drop down to either remove, deduct or cancel the entire line in that sales order. So this could be for any various reason. It could be initiated by the customer. It could be because of unavailability of the inventory. It's not in stock. So what happened here, the system just stamps the cancellation reason and the cancellation date of that revision on the order. And in that case, the system will keep track of the canceled pieces and you will be able to see how many pieces and how much dollar amount have been canceled on the sales order, and you can furthermore see it on the line level as we see. So now I save the changes and still I want to come back and I want to see how many pieces I canceled. So simply I can go to options, order transactions, canceled. So that will show me the canceled pieces by line. So as I navigate through the lines, the system will tell me in the lower part how many pieces canceled of that style, what was the cancellation date, and what was the cancellation reason. So that's a very good tool to know in case if you see on the summary tab, you see that there is 11 pieces canceled, but you don't know of which style they are canceled. So you can go to the details tab as we mentioned, go to options, order transaction, and cancel pieces. So that will, in other words, will show you in details by line level for each style if there is any pieces canceled, when they were canceled, what's the cancellation reason, and how many pieces were canceled. So this is the two common scenarios of revising an order, either editing or canceling partially, or the other scenario as we mentioned, if we want to cancel the entire order, so that would be the trash can. So if I pull up the order and click on the cancel or the trash can button, so this is my order. For any reason there is no stock, the customer canceled, it's a duplicate order, whatever, so I want to cancel the entire order, so I click here. If it's not allocated, if it's allocated, the system will warn you, do you want to cancel the allocation as well? Cancel all open pieces, double check to confirm, and now the system will tell you or will give you the option to select the cancellation reason and the cancellation date. So once this step is done, the entire order, as you can see, the status will be X or will be cancelled. The system will put back the quantity as available or open to sell. The status will be cancelled and the total pieces of the order of the entire order will be marked as cancelled. So this is how you manage and how you maintain the sales order regarding modifications, cancellation, either partially or on the entire order level. So we discussed in that section differences between canceling an entire order and canceling partially, importance of selecting the proper cancellation reason, and as we mentioned, this is good to keep track of the cancellation, and as we will see in advanced sessions, you can run reports for a specific cancellation reason, like you need to know all the canceled orders for out of stock, all canceled orders for duplicate, and so on, so you can tell by looking at the order cancellation reason. And we discussed what's the effects of the cancellation on the open to sell. Once a quantity or a sales order is cancelled, the pieces are put back into the open to sell and considered as available again. So now we'll probably need to show only the last important thing in that session, which is how to print an order confirmation. So after you save the sales order and you are ready to print a copy of the order confirmation form, you can retrieve the order, and as a shortcut, instead of going to the output, you can go to File menu, Print, and that will let you print a copy of the sales order confirmation right away from the screen or from the sales order screen. So what happens here that the system opens up the related form or the related output report. It's already selecting that sales order number for you. You can just fine-tune the search or the selection criteria if you'd like to add like an optional message, if you want to print book quantity versus open quantity, so you can switch that as well. So if you say print book quantity, yes, the system will print the original book quantity, not the current open balance. If it's no, which is the default selection, then the system will print for you the current open balance. And finally, you can add any optional message to the footer of the order confirmation, like terms and condition. So you can add any lines here that describes any text or any message that you would like to convey or to display for your customer. Once you are done that, you can print preview, you can export the report, or you can print it to a printer, one of these three outputs, and that will give you a copy of the order confirmation printout that you can use to send to your customer, to share with your warehouse people, or to share internally with anyone in your company. And here, as we mentioned, if we choose to print the book quantity, it will show the original quantity breakdown by style, color, and size. If we choose to print the open quantity, the lines will print only the back order balance or the open balance. Anything that you entered as an optional message will show up here in the footer part. So this could be terms and conditions of sale. It could be any message that you want to convey to your customer or to your to the recipient of the form. So this is how the order confirmation is printed. Okay, so I guess we covered all the important topics in the basic sales cycle. So I'm gonna open now the discussion if someone needs or have any question. Okay, so I unmuted the microphone. If anyone has any question, please feel free to bring it and we will answer it right away, or we'll discuss the business problem or the business issue. Okay, so I guess no one has questions. So, Elizabeth?
Then
Yeah.
in the status report, you have hold. How can we put that to open, the default to open. Can we change it to open?
Yeah, that's a system parameter, Elizabeth. So we can, what you are saying that you want for your entire company, any new order to go directly on as open status.
Yes, please, yes.
Oh yeah, okay. So I'm gonna take a note of that. I'll do it as a setup parameter on your company. So the whole idea that the system considers the orders placed on hold, providing that you will go through an approval process to make sure the customer credit is okay and there is no issues, and that's when you switch it to open status. But definitely, if what you are saying that the majority are on open status, we can do that. So I'm gonna confirm to you by email once the change takes place.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you have to do it internally, or?
Yeah, I have to do it on the company setup. So I am not connected to your system now. I'll have to just connect you to Gaylord's company and do it only on that company setting.
Okay.
But yeah, once that takes taken care of, your new orders by default will go to open status. So the exceptions will be the one that you will switch manually to on hold.
Okay.
Yes, I can do that definitely. Just keep in mind that once we do that, it will apply to any customer, to any order. So once you place a new order, by default, it goes to open status.
Yes, that's fine.
Yeah,
That's okay.
sure. All right, so that will be confirmed to you by email. What else? Do you have any other questions on the cycle, the differences between sales order, multi-store, and single stores?
Yeah, another thing with the multi-store, I noticed you discussed the fact that you can open up a template, and if it's the same style and so on for the different particular stores. However, we have a store which has multi-stores, but each individual store has different styles and different quantities. So how do we go about entering something like that?
In that case, unfortunately, you don't need to use the template, or in other words, the template will not benefit you. In that case, you will enter the order as a multi-store, but you will use the manual way of adding the lines.
Okay.
So let me demonstrate that quickly for you. If I choose here to add a new order, and I will select the same account that has multi-store, Macy's.
Just very quickly how to do that.
Yeah. Once I check the multi-store order, the same way like you do with a single store, you will go directly to here, click new, and in that case, the system will let you select each store for each style manually. So it's not gonna use the template. It's just gonna let you enter the line as if it's totally manually, and you just enter them one by one. So what I'm trying to say, it's typically the same process like when you enter a single store. The only difference that there will be a store field associated to each line. And here you can go and fill in the quantity to be ordered only for that store. Once you are done, you will click new and you repeat the same step but for the different store that you have. So I'm gonna go to store number 2. I'll select the style and color, and I will continue the process. So in other words, you will benefit from the template functionality only in case if the stores share the same styles. So in that case, the templates makes the data entry easier by entering the style once and apply them to all the stores that you have. But if that is not the case, then simply still can go for the manual way by adding line by line and associate the store code to each line on your sales order.
Okay, so every time you enter a style number for that particular store, you have to click store first and then the style, correct?
That's correct. You will have to select the store first and then the style, and that's how the system knows that this style belongs to that store number on.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, everything else would normally be the same process like the single stores. It's
Right.
the template feature is gonna be helpful only in case if like you have the same styles ordered across the board with many stores, so that when the template was gonna be
Yes.
helpful for you.
Okay, thank you.
No problem, Elizabeth. Okay, so I guess anyone else has any questions on today's topic? All right, so I guess that's it for today. All right, thank you so much, everyone, and have a good afternoon.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye-bye.
No problem. Thank you. Bye now.